I am going to put up the intelligent provisioning screen, which is what you should be seeing now. So I'm going to focus on a couple of things that I wanted to speak to specifically about Snap 2, or this second kind of round of releases that we've done for Gen 8. Hopefully many of you and most of you are familiar with intelligent provisioning already, so I'm just going to touch on a couple of things where we've seen some folks have had some questions about, so I'm going to only focus on those. So if you're looking at what I'm sharing, this is the main screen of intelligent provisioning. Of course, the left icon that I'm showing, that would be configure and install. The one on the right is perform maintenance, and I'm going to dig into a couple of things here on perform maintenance that I want to talk about. And just a little bit about the system that I am running on. This is a DL380 Gen 8 server that I'm running on. I am connected remotely using ILO Remote Console. So as you can see, I don't have any servers around me. This server is actually out next to my cubicle. And I'm sure it's bothering all of my neighbors right now because some of these servers tend to get pretty loud when you're rebooting and things like that. But I've got this set up in my cubicle, or right next door, and so that's what this server is. I actually have Snap 3 software on here. I don't have the Snap 2 software on here, so you might, I don't have Snap 2 officially released software on here, so you might see a couple of bugs in here. Don't worry, this is Snap 3 still unreleased software, but for the most part, what I'm going to talk about or show you is going to be the same thing in Snap 2. First thing I want to talk about, Active Health System. Or let me back up a little bit. So Kevin just talked about the ROM and booting up the system. And he showed you whenever you press an F key for certain ones across the bottom of the screen, you'll see that they will light up with white. And so the method to get into intelligent provisioning, of course, is to press the F10 key while your Gen 8 server is booting up. And you will know you have pressed it at the correct time if that white key, white image on the bottom of the screen actually does turn white. Okay, so after the ROM finishes doing its boot up process, you will begin to see the intelligent provisioning boot process, which takes a couple of minutes as well. And it will take you to the main screen that I was just at previously, and I just press the maintenance button, and this is where it will take you. I want to talk about Active Health System download. I'm not going to focus necessarily on what's inside AHS and what kinds of things it collects. I want to just focus on or walk through how it works within intelligent provisioning as far as what you can do. So Active Health System download, since it's very important to us and to our customers, and of course to you guys as well, we include that basically as the first icon on that list, so it's quick and easy to find. And you can go ahead and click that, and it will get you into our Active Health System download feature within intelligent provisioning. So what exactly does this do? It's essentially just a method of getting the log that Active Health System is building from your system. There's other ways of getting this Active Health System log. Intelligent provisioning is just one of them. But if you have to have this system up and you're in intelligent provisioning, this is one method of getting into it. So if you notice on the top, right off the bat, it tells you insert a USB key to download your Active Health System log. So back in my cubicle where I have my server, I already have a physical USB key located in the server. If I did not have that and I had my own USB key here, and I think you can pick it up on the camera, I would still be able to plug this into my laptop and and I would be able to mount it using ILO Remote Console, using one of these virtual drives. I would still be able to mount it in that manner, and it would be able to pick it up. It would actually show up here as drive F. Let's see if it works. I can try it out. So I'm plugging in a USB key to my laptop right now, and if everything works the way I expect it to, my laptop will detect. If you notice down here at the left, it showed up the notification that my laptop detected the USB key. It might take ILO a second to recognize it as well, but here it showed up as drive F here. So I can click that drive F, and that should mount your USB key through ILO Virtual Media, And I should be able to select it from this drop-down here. And right now, this is showing the USB key that I have physically connected to the server. If I press rescan here, it'll try and rescan, and it should actually find two USB keys. Now let's see if that worked. And voila. So it shows the OCZ Rally, which is the USB key that I have on my plugged in physically at my server, and then the second one that's called HP Virtual Media. That is the second USB key that I just plugged in right now live. So again, this is to show whether you're physically at the server or you're at a remote site trying to get this log from the server, you can do it in both ways. And I'm sorry, on the screen you probably see two mice moving back and forth. That is just a symptom of this being a lab server, which we're experimenting on, and sometimes the ILO driver is not synced up well, so you'll see that I have two mice floating on the screen. The dark one is the real mouse, and the white one is the fake mouse. So that might be a little confusing, but the dark one is the correct one. In any case, so I've got two USB keys connected. I've selected the physical one that I have at the server, and I have a couple of options here. I can download the entire log, which in many cases, if you've had this server plugged in for a long time and it's been running for a long time, that log can be rather large. So make sure you have a big enough USB key if you do plan on doing that. I believe there's a minimum recommended size. I'm not exactly sure what it is. It might say on some of this text here, but I'm sure you guys already know that. Or you can select, of course, whether you want to do from one day to another day. You can do that as well. So I will select from June 3rd to June 5th. Or I can do up to June 7th. That's fine. And I should be able to download that information. And also we've added this contact information just to help you guys out so we don't have to manage that contact information separately from the log. This makes it easier to identify which log goes to which support case, so I can put in a fake number, contact name. Okay, and that's just how it works. And really the rest of this, there's some text down here that just to make our customers feel happy about giving this log to us. It has some basic information that says, mentions our privacy policy and things like that. And then at that point, you can press download, and it will download the ActiveHealth system log information to my USB key that I have on the server. And it tells you success, the data is successfully downloaded onto the USB key. Okay. And what you do with this log afterwards, or what a customer would do afterwards, is send it probably to whoever their support rep is, or to whoever is requesting it, and they'll get it back to, I suppose, to some of the engineers back at HP, and we can do some analysis on that. So that's pretty much what ActiveHealth System Download does. Again, you can access it in different places. This is not just an intelligent provisioning, but we did want to make it easy for it to be accessed from whichever method a customer might feel more comfortable doing. Okay, so that was the first topic that I did want to talk about. And again, I'll bring up my agenda, and I will go to the next piece, which is firmware update. So firmware updates is something new in intelligent provisioning for Gen 8 servers. Previously, we did have Smart Start as one piece of software and the firmware DVD as a second piece of software. We've kind of mushed some of that together and taken other pieces out of that software and delivered that as intelligent provisioning, the product embedded into the Gen 8 servers. But we heard that it makes sense for a lot of our customers at the time that they're actually deploying their server and getting it ready to go. for them to go ahead and update their firmware. So that's why we've included this here. And if you're doing the other path, like if you were at the main install page, if you select to do configure and install your server and do your OS install process, you still have the option of automatically including the firmware update from there as well. So it's here on the maintenance menu also, so if someone wants to boot back into intelligent provisioning, they can come in and do that here. And that's what I want to show you. Before I jump into the firmware update feature here, I want to show where you set a couple of the settings here, and that's in the preferences page. So the intelligent provisioning preferences page has some preferences specific just to intelligent provisioning in general. And you guys know that this is going to be the first screen that you would normally see on the first time you install intelligent provisioning and the first time you boot into it. This screen will come up, and it disappears on the next boots that you have into intelligent provisioning. And you have these selections up here. For the firmware update to work, you do have to have your network settings configured. And of course, I have this set up in my cubicle, and I have an Ethernet cord plugged into my server. It's plugged into the first Ethernet port, and it shows up as the only green dot lit up. And that's the one you would select. I have set up to do DHCP, so it's automatically getting IP address through DHCP. And then the next setting that is pertinent to the firmware update is the system software update setting here, or this pull down. So you have three options here. You can opt to disable firmware update completely in case you do not want to do firmware update from intelligent provisioning, and you have other methods of doing it, like perhaps you use solely SPP and its HPSUM interface. You can opt to do that, and you can set disable firmware updates from here. And that way it doesn't bring it up during your OS install time. It won't try to do a firmware update. But if you do want to do a firmware update along with your OS installation, you have to select where you want to pull your updates from. And that would be done either from the HP website, or you can also do that from a local repository that you've set up. And for now, I will select HP website, and I'll come back a little bit afterwards and show you what it looks like, or show you what you can do for the local repository. So I'll go back to my maintenance screen, and now we'll go ahead and select the firmware update feature. Again, this is taking a little bit of time to load. This is a development build of intelligent provisioning, so we've got debug stuff running in the background, so some of these things do take a little bit longer than normal. So I have okay, that's what I was afraid of. But this brings up a good point here. So right now we're in the middle of updating our Snap2 images to HP.com. So since Snap2 has just released this week, this Monday, all of our servers are being updated on FTPHP.com. So the images are being updated. Along with that, we also have several pointers that point you to different images. So right now, it seems that we've hit a server that has not been fully updated. Yesterday I tried this and everything was working fine. The day before it was not working. But I just want to point out that right now you'll see an error message that says unable to contact the update server. You can go ahead and try again right now. Normally this would work as long as you have your network set up and everything. But I'll try and press it again and see if it actually picks it up this time. But in any case, what you would see is the actual firmware update actually come up. We've done some improvements in Snap2, and that actually gives you a more reasonable error message rather than just hanging here without telling the customer anything. So we have made those improvements for Snap2 and Snap3. We're adding retries, so it'll actually automatically keep retrying. There's some of our publishing on HP.com is sometimes inconsistent. Sometimes servers go down. Sometimes they're up. So that's why we're implementing a retry, so that if you do get an error message like this, it'll automatically retry for a certain amount of times, and you would be able to do that. In any case, the firmware update piece is not really the part that I wanted to show you, but I just wanted to show you where to. Some of you may have heard in Snap 3 we are doing a version of profiles, and that's what this screen is. And I will pop this out because that's not what I wanted to talk about today. I'm sure we'll do this again for Snap 3, and that we can get into the details for that. I want to show you now the second. So I mentioned the first place where you go to do your firmware update is HP.com. This works for a lot of our customers. They have their servers connected to the internet or where they have internet access. So that works for a lot of them. Some customers, however, they don't have their servers necessarily connected directly to their internet or so that they can access things from HP.com. And so for those customers, they wouldn't necessarily select HP website from this dropdown. What they would select is HTTP, FTP. And what this is meant to do is it allows them to plug in a URL for a local repository that they've set up on their network. So on their network, they would have to set up a server, put all the SPP files, put the intelligent provisioning files on this server, and make it accessible on their network, on the same network that their server is actually running on. A couple of things about this. There's a white paper available. Actually, I wouldn't call it a white paper. It's actually part of our user guide for intelligent provisioning, and I will pop this up for a second. It's in the advanced topics section of our user guide, and this basically spells out the steps that you have to do to create this server, and I'm just popping it up here just to show you the kinds of things that are involved with it. So basically, you have to download all your files. So step 1 says download the SPP and copy all the files to this web server. You also want to download intelligent provisioning and copy all these files to the web server. And you have to do a couple of other things. There's some manifest files that you have to make sure they're available, and create an index file that is essentially a pointer to each of these SPP images or IP images that you're containing on the server. So it's basically 2 or 3 pages, and this part assumes that the customer is somewhat familiar with creating a server and a web server or an FTP server so that they can host these files. So that's a slightly more advanced topic, but for those customers that do want to have that flexibility of creating this repo on their own network, it does give them that opportunity. To get that guide, you would be able to go to, and I have it, that's not it, here this is, you could basically go to www.hp.com/go/ILO. Again, since intelligent provisioning is part of the whole ILO management engine, you would go to GoILO and you can find intelligent provisioning information there. So again, that just resolves to this long, URL, and this is the website where you would be able to. It leads to this Proliant Gen 8 Management Solutions website. You would be able to go to HP Active Health, ILO Management Engine in parentheses. You would go there, and that would take you to the ILO Management Engine information page. You can click Intelligent Provisioning. That was a menu on the right-hand side, and this brings you to the Intelligent Provisioning website. And then you would be able to access documents, and the documents link is here on the right side also. So you would be able to go to the IP library where you're able to download some of that information. Make sure you actually select Intelligent Provisioning from the tab here because it does start you off on just the generic Gen 8 tab, which has a bunch of documents but not Intelligent Provisioning specific. So you will click that here and be able to download some of these docs from here. And you see the user guide is right here. You'll be able to download from there. Okay, so back to intelligent provisioning. I just wanted to show you guys that part. And of course, so once you create that server and it has a URL, we do support HTTP and FTP, and you'll be able to plug that in here. Once you have that plugged in, and please note the URL that you see here on this screen is not the same URL that you would use on your server. This is the URL that you see on the screen here right now. That's actually an internal HP test server. So we actually have to test all of these technologies ourselves. So we've created our own local repositories which contain the IP and SPP images. And we do have that here, but that's internal to HP. Some of you guys may be able to access this if you're on the HP CorpNet. And we do update it from time to time for Snap 2 to Snap 3, but that's what you would see here. So you can go back, and after you've edited that information, you would go back to the firmware update icon back at the maintenance page and click firmware update. And actually, I will try this here too right now, but I know we're in the middle of changes, and I'm not sure that it will detect it, but I'll go ahead and give it a try just so you guys can see it work. Hopefully. Okay, so it can't connect to our test network either. Okay, well, in any case, you get the idea. That's what I wanted to talk about specifically for firmware update. The next thing that I wanted to talk about is USB key utility. So this is a part that, so some of you may have heard that there's a spares process right now that has boards going out to customers to be replaced, and they do not contain intelligent provisioning on those boards. I think the spares team is actually trying to change that process so that they're pre-populating those boards with images of intelligent provisioning already on there. But before that happens, that means there's going to be some field personnel that has to go ahead and install intelligent provisioning. Now, the process to install it on a brand new spare board is the same exact process that you would use to install intelligent provisioning normally from a customer perspective, a normal customer perspective. And I've got is this. So I will go to, first of all, for the USB, what the USB key utility does is it allows you to put an ISO onto a USB key and boot it on the server, and that ISO then boots up from the USB key on the server, and it allows you to install intelligent provisioning. So I just wanted to show you where you actually access the USB key utility link. You can search hp.com for it, but everybody knows how difficult that is to actually do. So I will show how you actually get there. So you can go to www.hp.com/go/foundation, and that brings you to this website. You can scroll down to the website and go to the download section, and you will see all the old versions of Smart Start CD 3264-bit, the firmware update DVD, firmware maintenance CD. It has a bunch of old stuff. But what I want to point out is the HP USB key utility for Windows 1.700. This is the latest release from March 27th. So you will click on download, and this is a smart component. So you can click download, and it'll download to your laptop, and you can double click. You can double click the smart component on my desktop and save it to your desktop. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to go through the install, but it's a typical installation process, and I already have it installed. So it would show up on your start menu under the HP System Tools directory, and you would then click HP USB key